This one's for all the marbles in turn number 1. Bobby McCarty, the leader. Lane Riggs alongside. Deke McCaskill riding third, and look at Riggs. He is not going to give up. 2 laps to get it done. Off of turn number 4. Side by side for the race lead. Riggs on the outside. Has to give it up, and now he'll give McCarty a shove. Moves him out of the way. Nose to nose down the back straightaway. McCarty repays the favor. They all crash in turn 4, and Deke McCaskill will come through a carnage to win at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway. Holy cow, what a finish, and Deke McCaskill will talk to us in Edelbrock Victory Lane.
Unbelievable, man. I was just kind of content with third place, you know. We just charged back from 10th, and caution come out, and you know, God always has a plan, man. I just stuck with it, believed in it, trusted His faith, and we're standing here in Victory Lane, man. It's been unbelievable. My wife's at home. She's watching. My whole family's at home. My brother-in-law, all my in-laws, my kids, good gosh. They told me all week, my daughter graduates high school tomorrow, and so they had to stay home at Raleigh and watch it. And thank you guys for covering this stuff. This is awesome. And she said, "You're going to win this race." I said, "Honey, I've only been here one time, and if I can come out here with top 5 finish, I'll be really, really happy." And you know, we just charged through the field and got to position ourselves right there, and we were really good on long runs. And I didn't think I had nothing for Bobby. I thought I could get by Lane, but I knew it was going to be tough. And it's just not over, man. That's the way these Cars Tour rules are. And I mean, I hate it for Bobby, but what a class act to walk up here and congratulate me, man. That's pretty darn special. So, man, I was thinking this week, you know, I'm 41 years old, man. You never know when your last win's going to happen, man. And I know it's been last April, and you know, my daughter's giving me a fit, and, you know, Dad, it's been April since you won a race. And, man, I can't believe we're standing in Victory Lane here at Langley Speedway. This is awesome. Glad the rain stayed away. Able to get home tomorrow and celebrate with my daughter. This is pretty dang special, man. I've won a lot of races, and to be loved, you know, every time I pull into Victory Lane, she's one of the first persons to come to me, and just to see her, thank you, Lane, appreciate it, bro. Just to see her excitement on her face, see my kids' excitement, that's what it's all about, man. I don't care nothing but seeing them in Victory Lane is what it's all about. But we crossed the line, and I'm like, did we win this race? I just thought a caution was coming out, and like, yeah, you're the winner. And I ran around another lap. I'm like, are you serious? This is unbelievable, man. But thanks to Langley Speedway for letting us Cars Tour come out here this weekend. And, man, I got some battle scars and $6,000 check. It's pretty dang cool.
All right, we've got Chris Ragle, Series Director for the Cars Tour, on the line. Chris, thanks for joining us again this week, buddy.
Yeah, glad to be back with you guys, and glad to get you guys back on air and talk about Cars Tour recaps. Yeah,
man, you guys had another exciting race and another winner up at Langley Speedway. Tell us about heading up there to that track. I know last time you said you hadn't been there, so tell us your thoughts on the racetrack to start with.
Yeah, that was my first time, and a lot of our a lot of people's first time, I feel like, to ever go there. I always say if you're going to drive a little bit of distance, it's always good to go to premier facility, and Langley Speedway is definitely one of those. Bill Wallace and Chuck Hall and entire staff there was just excellent to work with. Phenomenal facilities as far as being prepared, walls painted, everything that you'd want. Really welcoming, and it was a place that I think guys liked. Obviously, the weather forecast, they were the same page as we are. Let's try to get this in, and we felt like it was the right call to race and prove that. And I don't know, I could be wrong. You probably know more than I do, but I don't know if there's anybody in Virginia, North and South Carolina, as far as Pensacola and Montgomery they canceled. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of people racing, but we sure got it in and didn't rain a drop on Saturday.
Yeah, there for sure wasn't anybody else who got a race in this weekend. No doubt about that. You guys stuck it out and managed to get that one in for sure. And it looked like the weather, played into you guys' hand all day. Speaking of the weather, we talked the business of the Cars Tour. So let's talk about the process of going into an event like this or any other Cars Tour race, and what you guys do looking ahead at the weather, and what the process of determining whether you should cancel the race or not is.
Well, that's a good question, and I definitely try to educate our competitors, and I've kind of got a lot of them trained, and I think the second part of that is educating the fans. But what we always try to do, we always look at it Tuesday, Wednesday, and then usually by Thursday around 1 o'clock or so, 1:30, we try to come up with what we are going to do. If we feel at Thursday at 1 o'clock that we can get the race in and make the trip to wherever we're going, then we make the call to race. If it's based on all the information and forecasts and everything that we study, that there's no possible way of getting it in while everybody's there, then we'll pull the plug. So for this case, this scenario, it was Friday that that looked wet, but as Saturday evening went on, it was going to be cloudy, but the day got better, and then Sunday it looked like it was supposed to rain again, and exactly what it looked like is what it did. Not saying it happens every time, but if we don't, our plan and our thing is if once we're there, we feel like we're going to race, and if that's moving it back to Sunday or even possibly Monday night, that's kind of what we would get into.
So you would race on a Monday night?
Yeah. I mean, we would. That kind of all came to head and got the feedback of that. If you looked back at the throwback last year, we had a lot of stuff on Friday, and weather really played us and gave us trouble. And the amount of response from the competitors saying, we'll race Monday night. Once it was a situation where they had these throwback schemes that they can't come back the next week. You know what I mean, or further down the line because of the throwback schemes. They were all willing to race Monday night, and while it's not ideal, I don't think it's out of the question.
Gotcha. Now, how much does that decision-making process when it comes to weather play in with the racetracks? Because I know not all your races are, races where you guys are toting the note. Some of them are where the racetrack is paying the bills. So what is the scenario there? How much do they play into the decision?
Well, any time that I guess every time we do try to consult with the track, but any time where they're the ones that a little bit more in control of the show, as they're the promoter versus the Cars Tour being the promoter, then it's a 50-50 just decision. We're not gonna do anything without their approval or anything like that. We feel still like we have to be consistent on our time period, and as far as that Thursday afternoon scenario. But I mean, it's a mutual decision, and I called Chuck there, and we looked over it, and that they have some technology and things that they can look up there, being through friends and whatnot, and through some of their weather technology where they're at, and we were on the same page there for sure.
Gotcha. Well, the weather played into your hands. Did the turnout meet expectations?
Well, I think it was down a little bit. I do think there's no questions that the turnout hurt the weather, or excuse me, the weather hurt the turnout. Don't get me wrong on that. Right. I don't think it is what they wanted to be or what we wanted to be, but that's a you can tell that place is a track that loves racing, loves their short track racing, because it still had 1,000+ people that were there, so I think you've probably seen, and I know a lot of folks have seen those crowds they've had for Hampton Heat, and that I think if it was a beautiful day, you get a crowd comparable to that.
Right. A lot of storylines headed into the weekend. We had a couple of stories last week about Josh Berry and Bobby McCarty, held over from Motor Mile. Same with Ryan Repko and Brandon Pierce. Of course, none of that materialized. But was there any thoughts on your part, or any action on your part going into the weekend to sit down either group of drivers and talk to them?
It was nothing really a set down type thing. I feel like myself and kind of, Bobby and Brandon and Josh and a lot of these guys that run with us on a regular basis is as I explained to them, even in the drivers meeting, we've got almost 20 of you guys every week that are going to be here week in and week out. It's almost like the Cup Series in the way is you're going to have to figure out who you're racing with, how you want, and you're going to talk, because you're going to see that guy again the next week. It's not necessarily the next time I come to Myrtle Beach or the next time I go to this track. You're going to see him the next time you race, no ifs, ands, or buts. So what were there conversations? Yeah, there was me and Josh were talking, and then Brandon came over there, and we talked about some stuff, and yeah, I mean, it all internal type things, and stuff that we as a group that all of us can work and talk about and feel free to talk about amongst ourselves. So yeah, I mean, it's I think as it played out, I was, as being on the race director side there, I had no fear of dropping the green flag of those guys can't figure it out themselves.
Gotcha. Another storyline headed into the weekend that we, at Race 22, were kind of following was the Touring 12 guys. Of course, Bradley McCaskill didn't go to Motor Mile, and then Craig Moore kind of joined him in that this week. Is that something that is I know it happened a couple of times last year. Is that something that's a cause for concern on the series part with the Touring 12, or is that just part of doing business?
I don't think so. I think it. I think obviously we have a rule in there. Made it, compared to last year to this year, we made things where it's hey, there's only 2 drivers that can compete for this owner under that car number. So we feel like we've got that taken care of. Craig Moore be back in the 1 car, and Josh Bentley back in his 4 car for Dominion, and and then like I said, I think the 07, Camden will keep racing there, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Bradley race some more with us. So I don't think it's a concern or anything. Does it affect them? As when we do a selection of the Touring 12, I think there's going to be repercussions on being in the program down the road, or things like that, that may not be, may not happen right now, but down the road is something that could affect them or could be the outcome. But so no big concerns on our part by any means.
Right. With it happening 2 years in a row, and do you think that maybe 12 is too many for you guys, or do you think it's just a product of how things go with the racers and there's nothing you can do to control it, or what's the thought process there?
Well, I think it's a little bit of a percentage game in a way. I don't think 12 is too many. When we first started this, people wanted to know why we limited it to 12. Well, there you go. Here's a prime example. Finding 12 people that can 110% live up to their fulfilled signed agreement is hard. But we do feel like this program is a program that we, will continue to grow and continue to get better and better and better. and more incentive and more value and more to the competitor. So I think we want to implement that. It's something you want to be a part of, and it's something you don't want to take advantage if you are a part of.
Right. Totally understand that. I think that's just part of doing business. You kind of,
absolutely,
it just kind of works out that way. I guess we move on to race weekend. Brandon Pierce, obviously championship contender, won the first race out of the box. Has to be hard for him to have the troubles that he had there. But it was cool to see Tommy Lemons help them out. It's gotta be an interesting part of the weekend, kind of watching that unfold.
Yeah. I think if I could see, I think Brandon was just stickered up, was getting ready to make a little run there, and just I think the car just got away from him, and if the car gets away from you at Langley, there's not a whole room to slow it down. There's no banking to slow it down. There's no the place isn't the widest in the world, so bad deal for him, but Tommy's a class act, and going back to what I said earlier, we've got 20 guys that you're going to be around, each and every week and this and that, and how you race on the track, may help you or hurt you off the track, and those are the things to think about. So, but it was good to see that they got that worked out. Brandon definitely is in a chance for the championship for sure, by all means, and Tommy was a little further down, but at the end of the day, Tommy made that decision. So it was good that it worked out the way it did for everybody involved.
One thing that probably didn't surprise anybody was Lane Riggs being extremely fast all weekend. Of course, paced practice and then won the pole. Man, those flat tracks, I'm sure he'd like to have the entire tour made up of flat tracks.
Yeah, I mean, he's, obviously Carteret, what he's done there, and Langley, straight into that, and even if you, I think we never have got to see him really run, because it seems like within the first 10 laps or so something happens at South Boston. But I think South Boston he could be a place that would be just as good at. So yeah, Lane was fast and qualified on the pole, and I don't think that was any big surprise, and led the first few laps right away.
Did you hold your breath a little bit when you got a 3 wide pass going on for the lead in the opening laps?
Well, once again, it's I have to have a little bit of faith in these guys. We all know that sometimes when the helmet on, some decisions are made, but hey, look, most of the time these guys can race among themselves with no issues and no problems. So, I mean, yeah, the action was hot and heavy right from the beginning, and guys, fighting for position. Langley, is a track that you want to be on the inside, and if you're not, you could get shuffled back in a hurry, and some guys did that, and other people were forcing our way down, and the intensity was pretty hot and heavy from the beginning.
Early on in the race, local favorite Brendan Queen was running pretty good. I guess he backed off, thought that the caution lights were on. Didn't really, when I'm watching it on Car Store TV, I don't know what's happening, so I'm thinking, man, is he the only guy that saw this? What happened?
Well, that's I think that's kind of how it's a good I would explain it the same way. I'm kind of watching the cars and go into 1 and 2 there, and kind of they fan out, and I didn't know if somebody broke something or whatnot at the after it gets radioed in. But when we finally do get a get a yellow, someone one of the spotters says, I think that caution laps came on. And, when they say that right away on radio, I said, I thought I caught something on my eye, out of my eye, and asked the flagman, Brandon Willard, is it something that, did you accidentally hit something or whatever? Even for me, when I initially saw it, I wasn't 100% sure of myself if I saw the caution light, because kind of where it's at Langley, you're looking out to the support division's pit area. So, didn't know if it was a wrecker or anything like that. Like I said, it just barely caught my eye. And anyways, he said that no, right away he thought he saw it. He did see it, and he went to hit the switches, and they were already off, and so I don't, guess I don't 100% know what happened there. Perhaps it was a little bit of a just a freak thing, a malfunction, or what, I don't know, and if I was 100% sure that the lights came on, they came on for a decent amount, I would have thrown the yellow, but I myself never called the yellow on the radio or gave any indication for the spotters or the teams or anything to back off or slow down or whatever. Nothing like that was ever said.
Gotcha. Read on, online, Facebook, some people talking about it. Says it has happened there in the past. Did you have any conversations with the track afterwards about, what might be going on there?
I did, and same thing, and mentioned it randomly has happened at the past once or twice, but no, defined. Obviously we had a lot of rain, and Friday was a soaker. But nothing definitive as a reason to what happened or what led up to it. One thing that was is that if the true lights come on, caution lights are come on, and it's called from a caution as the scoring computer hits caution, then there's a light on the scoreboard itself that indicates a caution, and 100% sure that never came on.
Gotcha. Racing in this race was hot and heavy. Had a couple of cautions throughout, but the action really heated up about 20 to go or so. Josh Berry had settled, looked like he had settled into second, maybe positioning himself to get by Bobby McCarty if he could toward the end of the race. Then he gets spun. Tell us what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're exactly right. Inside the right at 20 to go, we had a start, and I specifically came on the radio and told them guys to wait about 18 more laps before they lose their minds. But of course they started a little early, but that's kind of normal. But yeah, I mean. That was an incident, obviously, with like I said, the 99 and 88 went for a spin, and we overall was it had been a pretty clean race. An incident here or there, that you're going to have with 25, 26 cars short track racing on a 4/10 mile, but going back to the 88 and 99 thing, when it cost, I went and looked at it, and I knew based on the previous week with Josh being involved, I spent a lot of time, multiple 2 or 3 times, multiple camera angles, at slow motion and stuff like that, looking to see what happened. Matter of fact, there was one time I looked at it and I said I was going to go back and say I want to look at it one more time. I went back in the room with Pit Row Media and it's just looking at it, I don't see any definitive foul contact that led to that. It was clearly that the 99 was up to the wheels, if not the numbers on his nose, and could they have touched wheels? Possibly. Even a little bit slowed down, maybe the 88 is a little bit loose already, trying to hold his spot down, or trying to hold it onto the outside, that maybe the 99 touches him. I don't know. I can't even look, and there's no door marks, or no tire marks on the door, nothing, and I just didn't see anything there that was a foul, I guess, per se.
Yeah, that was an interesting scenario. I mean, watching it, at home, to me, I mean, it almost looked like what you just said, that Josh had got a little bit loose, and maybe they made contact and maybe they didn't, and I couldn't tell one way or the other.
No, I mean, and I just, even here, I came in Monday and looked at it again, and I saw the same thing, and definitely satisfied, from and made the best decision that I felt, and it is a little bit. That's a little bit. I will say that Langley Speedway, because it is so flat, you're not really high up. It's a little bit more challenging to get depth perception,
Right.
but I still think it was just a racing incident.
Any conversations with either one of those two after the race about this?
Me and Josh talked a little bit, but talked a little bit or whatever, and I don't think it wasn't a thing where he was upset with me or anything like that. I don't feel like so. Just normal, reaching out to explain my process and things like that. But nothing. I don't feel in a negative at all.
Gotcha. Went back to racing. Of course, good racing there toward the end. Looked like Bobby had the race, won, and that white flag caution showed its head again for the second race in a row. And of course, shoes on the other foot for him. Go through the restart. Lane Riggs gets in behind him. They make contact, and then of course they make contact again, and Deke slides by him to get the victory. Take me through what it was like being the race director there on that final lap.
You're wondering what's happening. I'm sure. I feel like me and Deke were probably the same people. There is, it's all happening so fast. That at one time you're trying to see what's going to happen, and like I said, I think it. It just. That was the part that we were, wait until the two to go, and then you can lose your minds, and that's exactly what happened. And I think is, once again, it wasn't rough, it wasn't, malicious, it was, short track, racing, and no one destroyed anybody, no one took anybody out, and then, I think Deke doing what he does. Deke started, 10th or 11th in this race, and he didn't knock people out of the way to get to where he was. His car wasn't tore up, and Deke does what he does, and that's why Deke's a good race car driver, and that's why you can almost put money down every year that Deke's going to win a race or two, and for what whatever he does works, because he's always good for a race or two, and he took advantage of what other people's mistakes were.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like in his interview that he was really surprised to not only get the lead and for the whole scenario to play out in front of him the way it did, but he was also seemed to be a little bit surprised that nobody wrecked behind him to bring out another caution.
Well, he wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only one that wasn't surprised, and they tried to and things like that. Bobby won one like that, and now he lost one, I don't want the perception to feel like guys can take guys out for the win, because if they think they can, then they're going to have a rude awakening, and they're not going to like the wrath that's going to come down with that. But we can race hard and race with the part of putting on a show, and obviously I think in the end it was nobody's cars got destroyed. Fans were going crazy. first time, you couldn't ask for a better first time visit to Langley, and just don't see any reason why we wouldn't return in 2020 there.
Yeah, I mean, six different winners now. In the 6 races. I mean, is there any way that this streak continues?
Well, yes. I mean, I think there's some good race car drivers that haven't won races. One of those, obviously, being Lane Riggs this weekend. That going to our next race. The last time we were at Dominion, he won there. We ran twin races there, but he won there. So, and then if not, there's Carteret. So, I think, I mean, it's hard to believe that it's like that, but, you've got some guys there that, Justin Carroll, I mean, he led a lot of laps, led the most laps, and was right there in the mix too at a track he's pretty good at. So, and not to mention, one little factor that they didn't quite get the finishes that they wanted to, but Cameron Bowen now who is full time on the tour finished 7th, and he was the highest Langley person. But while we haven't ever had that in the Cars Tour history books, is having that local guy that could sneak in there and win a race at one of these tracks. So I think the possibility is there, because you've got 3 or 4 and guys that could get it done. But we'll see what occurs. Going to another one that's in Dominion that's just completely opposite of Langley.
And have to be impressed so far with the effort that Sammy Smith has put forward, man, getting his best career finish, I believe, there. I mean, that was another great run by him, and he's been really up on the wheel, it seems, at every race that he's been to so far. Yeah,
I mean, he's got an average starting spot of 8th and an average finishing spot of 5th. I mean, and the kid's back-to-back third place finishes. So I mean, he's one too that could do it. He won't be at Dominion, but after that, I think he'll be with us most of the time. But I mean, he's done solid and races clean. I mean, there's that possibility as well.
Another driver who got a great finish was Adam Lemke. Came home 4th. He's done a really good job, and seems like he's got his shifting problem that he had a few races ago. He seems to have that figured out now. He could be another guy that could be up there challenging for a win going forward.
Yeah, I mean, he could, and was just checking out the rookie points based on the calculations and stuff like that. Going forward, him and Minnie and Taylor Gray, they're going to be pretty tight together going for that rookie battle. So even Zach St. Onge isn't too far back. Taylor's got a little bit of a gap, but I think you're talking 15, 18 points separating those top 4 guys. So it's those rookie guys and Lemke and Minnie Terrell. Minnie's been just, while he hasn't been headline stealing, he's been pretty consistent. He kind of finished a little bit further back at this race, but he's been pretty consistent with about 7th, 8th place finishes. So it's really crazy as far as the points, rookies, and then you look at the driver points. Now Bobby leads Josh by just 1. Deke's right there with 18 back, and then Brandon down 28 back. So it's gonna be intense, and we still got 4 more to go.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to watch these rookies. You had, Taylor Gray, who just kind of set the world on fire in the first 2 or 3 races there, and the wheels have really fallen off of his deal, whether it was from, braking stuff or whatever's happened over the course of these last few races. And then you've got, Lemke, who started off a little bit slower, and he's coming toward the front, and Minnie's kind of been right there in the middle, and, he's, obviously Dominion's close to home. He's going to be wanting to get a really good run there, and goes to Carteret where he's had some really good runs and should have won some races there in the past. And it's really interesting to watch these guys kind of go back and forth.
Well, as I say, what a time to be alive to be a Cars Tour fan, and if you're not, now's a good time to be involved and see what we're all about. And as you mentioned, we're heading to Central Virginia for a return to Dominion, place that I guess we haven't been in a couple years. So excited to be there, going there. Like I said, last time we ran there, it was twin events. Now we'll run just 125, green flag laps as normal. So a little bit different tires this time. Running the F45s like we always run, and fast, big track, a lot of room, lots of grip, and I think we're in for another great car count. And it's exciting few races ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have kind of talked about, seeing kind of the car count dwindle, but it hasn't dwindled. It hasn't went anywhere. And, it sounds like, from what you're saying, Dominion's going to be really good. Who are you expecting to join the tour that we haven't seen so far this year?
Well, I just, like I said, not trying to boast or anything, but I can tell you right now for Dominion, we've got, I think, 20 already entered, and then we have 24 entered for Carteret. So we'll break that record and give them the most cars they've ever had in an event already. Awesome. That's a $40,000 purse. That's a little later, but I can tell you, Justin, I call him Justin Virginia Carroll.
I do too.
So I don't get him confused. But he's entered for Dominion and Carteret. Has pretty good plans. So to finish the year out with us, Michael Harden, I think he sits fourth in the Dominion points, has entered. So I know those are some guys that'll be at Dominion. And then there's the possibility of Jeff Oakley getting to return to competition. We spoke to him. I've kind of told him the deal he set out for a couple years, and it's no secret that we always pick our top three in a random. It's no secret, and he knows that he would be the random even if he start parks. So I think he may be there. I don't I'm hearing some other guys. Grayson Cole has heard this, that. So we'll probably have a few guys that here in the next couple days that probably know a little bit more on that.
Gotcha. As far as Jeff Oakley goes, kind of explain what you're referring to there, because some of the people listening may not know the scenario from the last time there at Dominion.
Yeah. So when we were there, and I guess it would be 17. I guess sounds right. Maybe 16. So. Jeff ran with us there, and had a very strong engine package, something that we kind of noticed in practice and testing the day before, and that we told him that if we didn't think it was right, that we would be looking further into it. Of course, he goes and wins. We take that engine back, and it was a 604 crate motor that was just 60 horsepower than anything we'd ever seen. And then the option was to obviously he was getting disqualified and stuff for breaking the rules, and then the option, we were going to go in there and just remove the part from the industry, and he deferred us to let us do that, to take those parts. So therefore, when he made that conscious decision, he was banned from the series indefinitely. And he's talked with us, and we've talked with several folks, and even some fellow competitors there that appreciate what we did, because they feel like Jeff is significantly different from then to now, and that he is right, they don't have any qualms about racing with him on a regular basis and stuff like that. So, based on those things and stuff like that, and Jeff reaching out himself, and we feel like, everybody kind of deserves a second chance.
Gotcha. Very interesting thing to follow heading into next weekend's race. Man, anything else left over from Langley or going forward on your mind or going on there at the Car Store headquarters?
Well, I think it's probably hard to believe, but we're starting to kind of work on 2020 schedule and kind of get that in some folks' minds. I know you talk to some of the track promoters and tell them that, and they're like, what? But we're 60% through our year already, about to be 70% in a week, and then we've got some pretty big events, in the Carteret event, and then the throwback, we'll start pushing that. So, and then of course Orange County and South Boston. So, yeah, we'll work towards 2020 schedule, but man, what a time as far as being some good intense racing and some good battle of the championship. So definitely hope if folks can make it, they can come on to Dominion and a world-class facility, and should be some good racing to get back there.
Absolutely, definitely should. Hopefully, I'm hoping to make it up there next weekend. Never been there, so hoping to make it up there next weekend and see it in person and stop watching it on Car Store TV, even though it's so good.
Yeah, well, like I said, don't let that go to Tony's head each and every time. But yeah, come on early. We're doing a big pit party, and they're doing a bunch of stuff. The track's really got into it, and supposed to have. So come up there, and have a good time with us a little bit before we get serious the next day.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, from talking to some of the racers last week, spent quite a bit of time on the phone last week with several Car Store competitors. Man, everybody seems to be liking this deal where we kind of go into your mind and kind of into the business of the Car Store. So we appreciate you giving us the time every week to kind of dive into deeper things that people wouldn't get otherwise.
I think it's important. I think it's important from the fans. I think it's important to competitors and understand, how things get developed and what the costs are and the mindset to do it, and I've been preached to the late model stocks for a long time that, we're in this together and we can get together. And, the key of doing it together, they gotta know what the hell's going on. So, I think it's important to be up front and educate everybody on these things.
Absolutely, man, and we just appreciate being the ones being able to do that for you. And again, appreciate your time. And I guess until after Dominion, we'll let you go, buddy.
All right, thanks, all you guys at Race 22. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.